They try to make buying a house seem like it's the most complicated thing in the world, but it's not. Don't ever buy a house without using these 5 tips that Bill and I are going to give you guys right now. My name is Brandon from Vegas. Welcome back to Won't You Be My Neighbor? As always, we're here with Mr. Bill Gaylord, Vice President of Cross Country Mortgage. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. Ready to roll.
Bill, we're going to jump right into it.
Yes.
Okay. When I first got into real estate, right? Lifetime renter. I thought buying a house was so hard, so complicated, especially because I just got finished studying for this exam, and this exam has so many things on it, coastal rights and property rights and open range laws. And I'm like, oh my God, you have to be a rocket scientist to own a home, right? And then I started actually selling homes, and I realized
not that hard.
Most of these people who own homes are fucking idiots, right? Like, if they can do it, I can certainly do it, right? And I realized home buying really comes down to the same thing that dating. You ever hear people talk about, me and you haven't been single for a while, but when I hear my single friends talk about dating and I hear TikTok talk about dating, my God, they have all these tricks, and it's like, well, I watched her story 5 weeks ago and I remembered her favorite song and then I brought it up. It's like, what?
I'm so glad I don't have to do that.
What are you doing? It's really not that complicated. 5 weeks ago, you could have been like, hey, I really like this song too. You know, maybe we could get to know each other, and done the same thing, right? So it's not complicated. So here are 5 tips that I have utilized to put myself, my close friends, and at this point, hundreds of people into homes. Okay. Number 1's the easy one. Marry the house, date the rate.
Yes.
Marry the house, date the rate, right? I used to work Vegas nightclubs, and so many guys would spend ungodly amounts of time chasing the girl who clearly wasn't long-term. Much like the mortgage rates, she was here, she was there. Sometimes she was high, sometimes she was low, but she wasn't consistent, right? And what I tell them is that the house is the consistent thing, right? Marry the house, date the rate. Don't put all of your time and effort into the, inconsistent thing. Put your time into the thing that was the most consistent.
Yes.
Bill, why do you think people do that? Why do you think people focus so much on the rate and not so much on the house?
Well, the biggest pain point for buyers is really mortgage payment. So mortgage payment is dictated by the interest rate. So everybody looks at the interest rate. They say it's too high, my mortgage payment is too high. So they wait for rates to drop. And what inevitably happens is when rates drop, the values of homes go higher.
Yep.
So what they want to do is buy the house low, right? And they may pay a little bit of a premium on the interest rate now, but there's ways, as you know, to get a lower interest rate in today's market because of seller concessions, 2-1 buy downs. But buy the home low, maybe have a little bit higher interest rate. And then when that interest rate, you're done with this interest rate because they dropped, you go get another interest rate and you lower your interest rate so you can get a lower payment.
Bill is so smart. I'm going to explain interest rates and houses in a way that all of you can understand a Vegas nightclub. Okay. There's the guy who's like, hey, I'm going to outthink the system. I'm going to go to the nightclub when it's free. That way I save money. And I go, okay, so you're going to pay $0 to get in. You're going to pay $25 for a drink. Because it's free, all the tables and all the places to sit down that are comfortable are gone. So now you have to pay $10,000 for a table, right? There's so many guys in here that you can't even talk to a girl. And if you want to talk to her, you have to buy her a drink. And then if you fail, you have to buy another girl a drink. So now you're out 40, 50, 60 bucks in drinks. You have nowhere to sit. You can't even get close to the DJ because it's so crowded. So yeah, you got in for free, but did you have a good time? Did you get what you want? Or did you just end up spending money on other crap? Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas the smart guy goes, you know what? I'm going to pay the $50 cover. I'm going to pay a little bit of a higher rate to go to the nightclub on ladies' night. Yeah, I paid $50 to get in there, but hey, ladies drink for free for the first hour, so I don't really need to buy her drinks. And because there's so many girls in here, I really don't need to even buy her a drink to compete. I can just talk to her like a normal human.
Choice.
And because it's $50, it's less crowded, so I can get closer to the DJ. And if I want to grab a seat or a chair, I can. It's more comfortable. So yeah, I paid a little bit more up front, but I got more of what I wanted.
Yes.
Right? And that's the hardest thing to get across to people. You might pay slightly more, but you get more of what you want versus, waiting for the interest rate to drop and having to compete in a crowded nightclub. Yeah. You end up, truthfully, Bill, you end up paying more with lower interest rates because everything else is more expensive.
Well, and I think a lot of people think that when the houses crash, mortgage rates will be low and they'll get both a crash and low interest rate. And it doesn't happen that way. It just hasn't happened that way forever.
No.
And so people need to buy the house at the value that they can get now, pay a little bit extra for the nightclub entry fee on ladies' night, and then they will benefit when they go to replace the interest rate and they date the rate. They date the rate, they get a lower rate down the road.
That's my favorite thing is the people who are like, well, no, when a crash comes, it'll be low prices and low rates. And I'm like, yeah, and you'll be out of a job. Do you remember 2008? How many people's jobs were going really well? How many people were getting laid off? How many people were getting fired? Like, if a crash actually happens, it completely tanks the economy. People aren't like, oh my God, the economy's crashing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a house. Remember during COVID, Bill?
Yeah,
during COVID, the interest rate was 2.5%. I know because I literally just checked about a client who bought a condo during COVID. Their mortgage payment $600. 2.5%. Houses were dirt cheap. Bill, was anybody thinking about buying a house during COVID, or were they afraid that they were going to die?
They were afraid they were going to die.
Yes. Everybody tries to pretend like they're going to be logical during a disaster, but they're not. They're going to be like everybody else and they're going to panic, right? Marry the house, date the rate.
Correct.
By the way, my hands still smell like roast beef and chili oil from Golden Boy, and it's really fucking with me right now. Our number 2 tip. Oh boy, this one's going to get us in trouble. Stop looking for a 10 when a 7 will love you forever.
I love that one, Brandon.
Again,
stop looking for a 10 while a 7 will love you forever. I love that.
I used to go to a nightclub, right? All the 10s, the rich guys at the tables would swoop them up. And all these guys would spend the whole time daydreaming like, oh man, what if I could get a girl like that? And meanwhile, there's a beautiful 7 with her friends waiting for somebody to talk to her, right? A girl who would love you forever, sitting right there, but they were so busy trying to chase the 10. And we see the same thing with real estate, right? We approve somebody for $400,000, and what do they want, Bill?
They want a $500,000.
They want a $500,000 house. We approve them for $500,000. What do they want, Bill?
They want a $600,000.
They're always chasing better than what they earned.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Stop chasing 10s when a 7 will love you forever. Look, if you look like Brad Pitt, or in the financial world, if you've got $1 million with an 800 credit score, you go ahead and chase them 10s all you want. You're Brad Pitt. You're a millionaire with an 800 credit score. Go nuts, right? But most people aren't Brad Pitt, and most people don't have $1 million. And most people would be much happier with just a nice house. Because guess what, Bill? You can turn that 7 into a 10.
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of lipstick you can put on that.
There's a lot you can do with a house that's a 7 to make it a 10. A lot. You can fix the floors later. You can upgrade the backyard. You can add a pool, right?
Totally. Those 7s are the gems. Those are the ones that will pay off and have value down the road. You just have to work on that house to make it to where you want it to be.
And because you get that 7 house cheaper, it's easier to build equity.
Now, let me ask you, right now, I'm going to put the marketplace where we're at right now.
Yeah.
During COVID, were there a lot of 7s to even go
everywhere?
around?
Just everywhere, just scattered, just everywhere.
And now, are there a lot more?
Well, yeah, we're in a buyer's market.
because there's a lot of inventory. Back then, the choice of houses back in that pandemic time period, there was not a lot of houses to choose from.
Well, who was
so
selling?
a lot of people were really settling.
Yeah.
Now there's choice. There's more choice right now, and they could get a really nice 7.
Yeah. People don't understand that. Back during COVID, nobody wanted to sell. People were too scared to sell. They thought if they went outside, they were going to, and a majority of home sellers are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, right? These are the people who were scared the most. So yeah, people always talk about like, oh, the 2.5% interest rate. It was like, yeah, but you basically had to pick between like 2 houses. That was it.
And you had to do it that day.
That day.
Yeah.
Right? Right now, I drive around Vegas every day and there's 7s everywhere, right? Let's take it. Let's put West Summerlin as a 10 and then like a house in Henderson and like a 7, right? That house in West Summerlin, you buy it brand new. You're going to have to pay the highest property tax. You're going to have to pay all the closing fees, all the builder fees. You're basically buying the most expensive house and it's not going to return equity or value for a long time. Yeah. Whereas that house in Henderson, you're buying it at a much lower property rate. And yeah, the floors may not be perfect and yeah, the cabinets may not be perfect, but you can fix that, right? You as the home buyer can fix that. And that actually transitions into number 3. You don't need to be rich. You just need to be ready.
You need to be ready.
You don't need to be rich. You just need to be ready. Right?
Correct.
I was one of those guys who thought that I needed to be rich before I had a wife and I had a kid. And then I remembered my dad wasn't rich before he found my mom and had a kid. Most of our parents weren't rich before they had a kid and had a wife. They just had to be ready. Right? And real estate's the same way. People have this concept that they need to have millions and millions and millions of dollars before they can buy a house. And it's like, no, not really. You and your partner don't need that much, right?
Well, there's a misconception out there that you need 20% down payment for a house.
Yeah.
Right? So it does seem like, oh my God, that's so out of reach. If you bought the $400,000 home, 20% is $80,000. You don't need $80,000.
No.
You need 3% on a conventional, which is $12,000, or 3.5% on an FHA, which is the easiest loan to qualify for, which is $14,000. That's what you need. And there are closing costs, but guess what? What's happening with closing costs today, Brandon?
Yep, they're getting paid for.
Paid for by the seller.
The 3.5% down, it's like every guy thinks he needs to be rich before he finds a quality lady. It's like, well, no, dude, she's not rich either. What she wants to see is that you have a plan. And that's no different than you and me. Look, a lot of people that show up to us aren't ready that day, but we don't reject them. That's one thing that me and you pride ourselves on. I just closed a gentleman today named Romario, right? We started his process over a year ago, right? He wasn't ready at the time, but you know what he was? He had a plan. He had goals. I could tell he was someone who was on a mission, right? He didn't just show up and was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. He's like, no. Give me a year. I'm going to sell my house here. I'm going to save this much money. I'm going to put this much down. I'm aiming for He had a plan. And I think when I met my wife, I was broke as hell, but I had a plan of how I was going to get to where I am now, right? You don't need to be rich. You need to be ready.
Yes.
Right. And another follow-up to our previous conversation about don't chase a 10 when a 7 will do, right? Let's use me for example, right? Sometimes you need to swipe right on the ugly guy. Sometimes you need to swipe right on the chubby guy because look, you can fix this, right? Right? I can go to the gym every day if you motivate me. I can get a nicer haircut. You can dress me better, right? And that's the same thing as a house. Yeah, the house may have busted carpets. Yeah, the house's backyard may be rocks, but guess what? You're a pretty girl. Fix that shit, right? Fix the backyard, make it nicer, put new carpets in.
That'll get you in shape too.
That right? That chubby house can have a full transformation into the guy of your dreams. And guess what? That house, the one that you fixed up, the one that you took from nothing and made it something will love you a lot more. It will return a lot more value, right? If you take a $400,000 house and you fix it up and you end up selling it for $650,000, that'll feel a lot better than buying a $650,000 house,
Yes.
right? Because you earned it, you put money into it, and you made a profit from it.
And it's time, we always talk about time in the market, not timing the market.
Never time the market.
And never time the market. And being able to I look at existing homes, which I'm going to call a 7 more than a new home, if you will. And those 7s, they may have a little wear and tear on them. They may have not the most updated carpet or painting or whatever in terms of but it has unbelievable bones.
Yeah.
We always look at the bones.
I got great bones.
You got great bones.
Yeah, great bones.
Yeah, look at that. You're going to have, and then, but the lot size is good. You can actually have room for a barbecue or whatever it is. You get more for those 7s.
100%.
And then if you give it a little TLC, you are able to make it better. The value proposition goes way up.
Yep. Like, again, you may not be hot enough to draw in Brad Pitt, right? But, you find some guy out of shape, dresses bad, you put him in some nicer clothes, you get him to the gym, you could customize your own Brad Pitt, and guess what? I promise you, he would be a lot more grateful and love you a lot more than Brad Pitt would.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
Brad Pitt's got 100 buyers trying to buy his house, right? That chubby guy that you fixed up, he had 0 buyers, which means you're his favorite for sure. So, number 4, I'm going to look right into the camera so when Rob clips this, you guys can see into my soul. Self-care is bullshit. Trying to do it yourself is bullshit. Bill, how many people do we see trying to do it themselves, trying to fix their credit and come up with a financial plan? How often does that work?
They go online and they start reading things, and the stuff that they see it's kind of leading them down the wrong path. And then they get into debt consolidation. They get into paying credit cards off, closing accounts off. Then they pay those credit cards off, and then they don't have any money for down payment. They don't know how much money they need. They're a mess. Then they change jobs, and then we can't use the income because they changed jobs because they think they're making more money, but you can't use that money until you actually have a history of it. So DIY, in my opinion, it's really difficult. And then you can lean on Brandon and myself to really understand going through. Don't self-diagnose. Don't self-diagnose what you have when you have people who are willing to go and show you what kind of a game plan you need to get to where you want to be. And you were talking earlier about people and the person that you were working with. I call it mindset. You have to have the mindset that you are going to do something, that you have the goal and the commitment to make it, to get through. We build that plan to help them get there.
Yep. How many people do you know who say they're working on themselves before they get into a relationship? How does that go for them usually? Right? They end up spending a bunch of money on spas and meditations and all kind of nonsense. It's just spending money. They're not actually going anywhere, because the truth is, if you could fix yourself by yourself, you would have done so by now. You have to accept the truth that in a lot of cases, you need help. You can't fix yourself by yourself, or you can, but it's going to be a lot slower and a lot harder. It's just a lot easier to admit that you need help to get there.
Yeah.
The first step is just the reason you can't fix yourself is because you won't accept that you need help. That's the first step to being fixed, is admitting that you need help, right? How many people have we run into? Oh man, the credit repair company screwed me over, or I paid off my hospital bills. Does that help? And we're like, honestly, no, we didn't give a shit about your hospital bills, right?
Well, what they need to do, Brandon, is action. People have to take action. If they don't take action, nothing's going to happen.
You mean I can't just buy things and it makes me feel better?
So one of my favorite cartoons growing up, and this is of course going to age me a little bit, but which is fine, was Underdog. I don't know if you remember Underdog.
I remember Underdog. Come on.
Okay. That little dog was a or whatever it was, a beagle that had long hairs, looked bald like me. And he had no right winning anything, but he took action every time there was a problem. Polly was getting in trouble. He would go save Polly. He'd break down, he'd set fires, he'd crash cars. But at the end of the day, he took action to save Polly. And you have to take action to get to where you want to be.
100%. 100%. And finally, money isn't everything. Not having it is, in the words of the great poet, Mr. West. Money isn't everything. Not having it is. Everybody thinks money is going to solve their problem. Well, Brandon, if I just made this much money, I'd be able to get this much house. And it's like, no, dude, if you made that much money, you would just spend that much money.
That's what happened.
Money's not going to solve your problem. It's the fact that you make money and then at the end of the month, you don't have it. Right? People don't want to hear this. This is, in fact, tip number 5 is probably the most important tip. And that means it's the one that you guys are going to reject the most. But it's not how much you make, it's how much you guys save. Millennials have normalized prioritizing experiences over everything else. They call them, in the marketing world, they call them little luxuries, where millennials are willing to spend $37 on an Uber Eats meal as a little luxury to reward themselves for a hard week or something like that. And it's like, or you could reward yourself by not spending the money and saving up for something bigger than a little meal from Uber Eats, right? Not having money is the thing. I don't care. Bill, we've had people who make $50,000 who had better financial profiles than people who made $100,000, because the guy making $100,000 had a Mercedes with a huge note, and he had to kit the Mercedes out. So there's another 12, 15 grand, right? And he's got to have his luxury apartment because he's a cool guy with a Mercedes, right? And he's got his Netflix and he's got his Hulu, and he eats out every night because why would you learn how to cook? You got a Mercedes, right? And here he is making $100,000 a year, but he spends $95,000 of it on expenses and debt. Meanwhile, the guy over here making $50,000 and his partner making $50,000, they don't think they're that cool. So a majority of their money gets saved, and they're actually able to buy a nicer house than Mr. 100K a year because he doesn't save his pockets. He empties them out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I see finances on everybody from top to bottom, rich, poor, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of silent millionaires that you have no idea. You would look at them and go, that person has what? This?
I happen to make
They just live under the radar. They don't go do certain things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have experiences, Brandon, but it's a plan to where you need to go. And in this market too, I'm going to translate it a little bit back to the current housing market. In terms of you don't need a lot of money, you don't need a lot of money. It's not all about the money. Right now, the down payment is very limited, and the seller is giving you the other half of the money for the closing.
Yep.
So you don't need as much as you just need to adjust some of your lifestyle.
If you're a single person, you will need more money. And this is the part where me and Bill, especially me, I don't lie to people about this thing. Real estate, home ownership, especially if you're trying to buy a single family house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, backyard, that's not for single people. They didn't start building 3-bedroom houses for single dudes in their 30s. That's not why houses were built. Apartments are built for single guys in their 30s. Condos are built for single women in their 20s and 30s. High risers are built for you guys, right? If you're trying to tell me real estate's expensive, but you're also trying to buy a 4-bedroom house as a single person, you're utterly confused about where you are in this world, right? One person making $50,000 probably can't afford a house. 2 people making $50,000, I can put you in a house, no questions asked.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
It's a huge, huge difference.
Yes.
So we're not here to lie to you guys, right? If you're a single person watching this, the best thing you can do if you want to be a homeowner is become a homeowner. A homeowner is not a single. Me and Bill sell a lot of houses. Single dudes in their 30s are not a primary owner of homes. That's not our market demo. It just isn't.
Yeah, I look at it too, Brandon, that you somehow have to get into the game. If you want to be a homeowner, if you want to, build your wealth, you have to at some point get into the game. And that may be getting a 5 as opposed to a 7. It may be getting a 4 as opposed to a 7. And if you get into the game, you start to understand it better. And then you know how to get to the next level that you want to get to.
Yep.
And that could be the stepping stone to get to the next one, to get to the next one. You keep this one, so it's just getting into the game and taking action to do that.
Bill, this is the generation that will meal prep for their health and fitness every week, dedicated. But they won't set up a savings account to save and budget for a house. This is the generation who will look at horoscopes and astrology to tell them about their future every month, but they won't check a credit report. Right? If you want to be a homeowner, all you have to do is start behaving like one. I know this sounds like the dumbest. Brandon, if you don't want to be fat, start behaving like healthy people do. Oh my God, what insane magical advice, right? Like, eat less, walk more. Okay, the same dumb advice you would give me that works is the same dumb advice that I'm giving you. Budget. Check your credit. Take life seriously. Stop spending on little luxuries. If you want to be a homeowner, the greatest tip that I have for you is behave like a homeowner. What do homeowners look like? What do homeowners do? How do homeowners behave? And start replicating that. What's your tip for them, Bill?
My tip for them is to honestly understand where you are right now. Because if you don't know where you are right now, you won't be able to get to where you want to be. And that means essentially going through, and if you want to become a homeowner, find out how to become a homeowner. And that means typically financing, getting pre-approved. And whether you're buying now, 6 months, a year, 2 years, just know where you are now so you can get there tomorrow.
Yep. That's good advice. That's good advice because we've given it to people and we've put people in homes with that advice, right? Bill, we told them not to do it themselves. We said that we would help them for free. How can they reach you?
BillGaylord.com. You can schedule a Zoom call. We'll jump on it, run through numbers, and get you headed in the right direction.
Yep. And guys, if you reach out to me, by the way, I got to give you guys credit. You guys have started to message me on Instagram and text me and go, hey, Brandon, we talked to Bill. We're ready to get started. That's the way to do it. Because if you contact me, the first thing I'm going to say is, have you spoken to a lender to see where you're at financially? I can't start looking for homes for you until you start telling me what kind of homes you can actually afford, right? The two things go hand in hand. So if you want to reach out to me, Brandon from Vegas on Zillow, Instagram, the real estate form in the description, you want to message me on TikTok, whatever, does not matter. I respond to anything and everything. But I'm going to connect you with Bill because it's so important for you to get the financial part of your process started. So, Bill, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Little Bill, drunk in the corner over there, freaking lush. This guy got rejected by a few too many 10s, He needs to hit the 7s. I'm Brandon from Vegas. Come and be my neighbor. Peace, 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 peace. Austin, we miss you. We love you, buddy. When you